for your help.
No problem.
Okay.
Bye.
Good. Well, should we have a look at these two forms that have come out of that, Boo?
Great. Let's.
Okay, so this was the first one we did. So we'll call this one good. And in comparison, we'll call this one bad.
So what's the difference?
Well, the first thing that's different here is that in the good one, we've got the back here and then the leg here. Whereas in this one, we've got the back and the leg in together. Having two in one is a real problem.
So you've got two symptoms under just symptom
Under
one?
symptom one.
Okay.
And that's a problem because when we come to score it next time, she may well say that the back's got really better, but the leg's just as bad as ever, and then she won't be able to score it. So that's the commonest problem that people make, and it does really cause problems.
So I noticed that on the good one, the language is very different.
Yeah. Pain across the bottom of the back. Yeah, because I did spend time trying to get her to put her own words down, whereas I practically told her what to put down that time, didn't I? Although it's ended up being pain in the back. It does make a difference, I think, because you can write something down that doesn't mean something to the person, and then when they have to rescore it, they don't quite understand what they're scoring. So yeah, so those were different, and then I went to put asthma here, again, really without asking her very much. So that's ended up obviously with two problems on one sheet.
And that's fundamentally not how MYMOP works.
No. Again, it's for a similar reason to having the two in one, that it makes it very difficult to score. And it also doesn't make sense to average it out across, if we're going to do a MYMOP profile score, which is an average. You get this one getting better and this one getting worse, and then you end up with an average that doesn't change.
So if you wanted to have asthma, you'd do a completely separate MYMOP just for asthma?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can run several at a time, but it gets a bit complicated.
And time consuming.
Yes, so it's better to ask them. And for her, I do think, from her story, that the pain was the main thing that was bothering her. And then on the activity, well, you can see that these are different. This says walking to the local shops, and that just says walking. And again, that just makes it more difficult to score, because walking is such a vague thing to score. She comes back in another few weeks' time, has to rescore it. Well, it's difficult for her to imagine quite what she meant by walking, rather than pinning it down.
Okay, so it's very specific, and it's specific to her in her words.
Yeah. It can be difficult. You can't always manage to get people to say one thing, so sometimes you can't always do it, but it does make it easier.
Great. Now there's something funny going on with the numbers. This one's got two numbers ringed together.
Yeah, which isn't allowed, because we wouldn't know how to score that. So that would mean the whole of this questionnaire was useless.
So it becomes invalid.
Yeah.
And similarly then if someone put 4.5,
Yeah.
it's invalid.
Yeah.
So you must make it just one number each time.
Yeah. And
Which
again,
you've
that
done
can be
good.
hard, but you just have to encourage people to say, well, just do the best you can.
Okay. And I remember when we were filming this that you were circling these.
Not allowed either. Well, I do think it helps people to make their own choice if they've got the pen in their hand, and takes the power away from the other person. And sometimes people will score something quite severe when they're not people that complain a lot, so they haven't sort of said that something's terribly bad, but when they actually get to the number, they can score it quite severe. You've got to have symptom 1 and you've got to have well-being. Those are the two got tos. The other two are, you don't have to have them. So if people can't think up a second question, symptom, or if there isn't an activity that's interfered with, which sometimes there isn't, that's okay.
Okay.
So we have to have symptom 1, we have to have well-being.
So this is currently invalid because we've got these two numbers circled and there's no well-being.
If you really believe that the MYMOP is going to be useful, then it's easier to sell it to the patient and get them on board than if you feel a bit ambivalent yourself. So yeah, I think you have to try and make the patients feel that it's their tool and that it's there for them to use. But some people just don't like questionnaires. In which case the practitioner just has to focus.
With the medication question, you ask them very differently.
Yeah, I mean the idea again is to try and get an accurate level over the whole week and in the bad form, I didn't concentrate on the whole week in any of the questions actually. And again, it can be quite hard. So particularly medication that varies, which are often something like paracetamol does. So otherwise, if you don't get it accurately, then obviously the next time they may well have cut down the medication, but it won't show up in the form, which is frustrating.
Okay.
So accuracy in the medication is important.
So this is really important. It's less frustrating for practitioners if they get it right at the beginning.
Absolutely, that is the answer, and it's more likely to show the change that happens. Whatever that change is, it'll only show up if we use the form properly.
So we're measuring a number of different indicators here. So for someone who works holistically, say a homeopath, they might be worried that it's not measuring all of the symptoms that are going to improve.
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's really important we just think of this as a kind of signal of what might be happening. So it doesn't try and tackle everything that the patient's affected by, but if this moves, then other things may move. So it's a signal. So shall we have a look at the follow-up form now and see how that would work? Much easier, the follow-up. So we write in here what was on the original form. So we'd write in pain across the bottom of the back, pain down the right leg, walking to the local shops before the patient arrives. And then all you have to do is to ask the patient to take the pen and circle how bad it's been in the previous week. So it's really quick.
Great. And is it right that a patient can do this in the waiting room? Or?
Yep, doesn't have to be in the consultation, although people do find it fits quite nicely to the beginning of the consultation when you're saying, well, how are you? But it can be done by post or anyway, because it's all set out, it's very straightforward.
Great.
Provided it was straightforward and set out the first time round.
Okay. Hopefully if we do get many people in the complementary health community using this, we'll get much more data about complementary medicine and help to win the argument to get it into the NHS.
That would be great.
Okay.
Good for Get Well UK.
Thanks. All right.